Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in for another video. Before I begin, just want to thank you guys so much for the likes, comments, and subscribes. If you haven't done yet, make sure you click that subscribe button below, so that way you get alerted when I drop a new video. Today's video is going to be about U-40 cork sealant. This is an excellent way to protect your investment on your cork for your handles, and I'm going to do a quick video on how I like to put on the U-40, so that way you can protect your cork on all of your fishing rods. Without further ado, let's get into it. All right, so here we are, tabletop view here. There's many different ways to do it, but this is kind of the easiest way that I like to put U-40 on my rods. And before I begin in doing that, I'm just going to talk a little bit about what is U-40 and what's the purpose of it. So this is a totally brand new bottle. I haven't even opened it yet. It's completely new. But essentially, it's a sealant that goes on your cork that protects it from any kind of water getting in there, any kind of debris. Basically, it's an epoxy. So the epoxy basically gets put onto the cork, it cures, and then it kind of waterproofs it and keeps any kind of debris, dirt, water out of your actual cork. Been using this for quite a while now. I want to say this is nothing new to fishing, but a lot of people have talked about it, and I wanted to do a quick video on how I like to apply it, just to make it the simplest and easiest way to put it on without overdoing it. So this is an old bottle, and this actually cured over the last year or so. So, you know, you would have to buy a new bottle every so often. And this is a completely new bottle that I just opened out of the plastic wrapping. So I'm going to show you how to prep it, how to put it on, how to let it dry, and then how to apply a second coat. So you're going to need the basic things that I have on the table. We have a sponge. You could use a brush, but I like using this because it kind of absorbs very well, and it applies on very evenly and very well too as well. And if I make any mistakes, I can easily use a side that's dry to just kind of soak up some of that U-40. And then I have some blue tape, painter's tape. You can use regular Scotch tape. Just use some sort of tape that doesn't really stick on. It's easy to take on and off, because you will need to prep your rod before you put the U-40 on to make it a lot easier to just kind of brush on the U-40. So let's go ahead and put on the blue tape. All right, guys, it took me a little bit of time, but I got the tape on as best as I could. But just kind of want to show you guys what I did here. I'm basically taping off the anything that's not cork. Okay, so the reason why I do that is because it makes it easier when you're applying it to just go ahead and apply it. And then when you kind of get closer to the edges here, you can kind of go very, very gently on the U-40. I didn't tape anything here because you don't really need to tape up here. You can kind of really put it on nicely and slowly without even having to tape that part. But I did tape this part here to make it easier here, just to kind of expose that, so I can just brush on one side. And then what I can do is just turn the rod while I have the brush here, and it'll just kind of get on there. So let's get started with this. And one thing that I recommend is to have some extra tissue in case it kind of gets anywhere. You can kind of clean it up. And then also, I always have the rod tilted or on something, so that way it's not physically laying on the table. So there's a gap here, and will there be some spillage? Sure, that's fine. Just wipe it as it goes. Just make sure it doesn't cure. So just give it a good shake. Open it up. And it's not even an open bottle yet, so let's open it. Awesome. So just gonna take a little dab here. Nothing too much. I'm just gonna apply it evenly. Just start brushing really slowly. Slowly and evenly here, guys. Oh, before you do this, by the way, you got to make sure your cork is completely dry and clean. What I would recommend is to wipe it down with a wet towel at first. And then when you're done with that, let it dry completely. And then you can go ahead and put that on U-40. If you don't do that, you're going to seal some of the excess cork stuff onto here that comes from factory. So make sure that you clean it first by taking a wet paper towel, just kind of wiping it, and then let it dry. I would let it dry for at least 24 hours. Cork is really absorbent, so make sure that you let it dry 24 hours before applying any U-40. All right, so that's all on top of the handle for the top. Let's get it to for the bottom portion. A little dab, not too much. Take this, and I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna put it here and just kind of spin this over, just like that. And you just want to get it on the cork, that's all. So you got a little bit of pooling going on. So I can just take this sponge and just kind of dry that pooling off, and looks nice and glossy and shiny now. So that is going to be the first coat of the U-40. So what we're going to do is we're going to let this dry, and then we're going to come back and we're going to apply a second coat. All right, so the cork is completely dry. It's been about 30 to 40 minutes. You could wait longer, but quite honestly, it's pretty dry. So I'm going to apply the second coat. So same thing as last time. Just going to take a little bit of the U-40 here, take a little dab, and we're just going to apply it evenly. So what we're going to do, one thing you have to be careful about is that sometimes if you put a little bit too much, it might kind of spill, and I kind of talked about that a little earlier. So what I do actually is I rotate it, every so often, just kind of let it here. That way it doesn't pool down and kind of drip the epoxy. But if it does, that's fine. Just wipe it off. It doesn't really do anything unless it actually cures. So basically right now we are in the drying stage. And so we are basically done with coat number 2, and we're just going to let it dry. And once it's dry, I can go ahead and show you guys what it looks like at the end. But before I do that, again, why do I do this? Well, again, it protects your cork from any kind of elements from, outside, because your rods are always going to be either getting wet or, there's going to be any impurities in the air that get into the cork that eat it up alive. And so I'm going to grab a rod that I'm going to show that does not have U-40 on it, and I'm going to show you guys what it looks like if you don't actually apply or take care of your cork. So this is a rod that is pretty old that I have. It's a St. Croix Premier, but this rod is not treated at all. So when you look at this rod, it has, it's kind of eaten up here on the bottom piece, and it's got a lot of, let's see if I can get it to focus. It's got a lot of these cracks in the cork. And so you could tell that this rod was not treated with any kind of U-40, especially near the bottom. It's more noticeable. Here. So these bigger cracks here, and there's a really big crack here, are, caused by just natural things, water, it getting wet, cork starts to dry, starts to crack again. So you really want to protect your cork, especially if you have really expensive rods. Definitely would do it for, all the rods that you have, because this is a completely new bottle. and you know, I barely use any of it. So I would definitely put on all your rods, and you only need to put 2 coats on, and it really protects your rods and does a pretty good job. So get that rod out of here. And we're gonna let this dry, and we're gonna come back in a couple minutes. I'm gonna show you the finished product. All right, so after some time, it is completely dry. Guys, you don't want to speed up the drying process. It's really crucial to let it dry on its own. So this is what it looks like when it is completely dry. It has a little bit of a shiny finish to it. Let me get the focus, but it is completely dry in the handle. So we're just going to remove all the tape. Just take a quick towel, just kind of wipe off any spots where it might have on the plastic itself, but it's pretty good. So this is what it looks like after it is completely finished and dried. Get a nice smooth finish here. But yeah, again, the idea is to protect your cork. So it's going to look like this. It's going to be a little bit darker in tone in terms of the color tone, but this is going to be the finished product here. And again, you're protecting your investment in your rod, sealing the cork so that it doesn't crack, just like the St. Croix rod that I showed you guys before. But really easy, simple job to do. If you guys haven't been doing this yet, please make sure you do. Protect your investment, especially if you're looking to resell or keep it for a long time. So protect the cork itself because they don't last forever. If you ever have an issue where it does crack and there is some bigger holes, there is a way to fill it, so it's not the end of the world. I've done it myself where I'd had a couple megabass rods split and there's a big crack and I've actually filled it. That could be a different video, but don't worry, it's not the end of the world. If there is some cracks in here, you can definitely fill it with some wood filler or cork filler. But I hope you guys like the video. Make sure you guys click and like that, subscribe. Again, this is the U-40 here. Excellent product to protect your investment. These are not expensive at all. So if you're looking for it, I think they're about like $10 a bottle. And you could probably do about 10 to 15 rods with just one bottle. And so this can last you a very, very long time. This is one of my older bottles, so of course it's done. But this is a fresh bottle, so that should last me a while. If you guys have any questions, feel free to drop a like, comment, and we'll see you guys on the next video.